Alright guys, this is my first video using, I've got one of those Samsung zip phone, is it a zip phone? Or flip phone? The ones that fold in half. I got it for sort of doing this, but it does seem extremely close. I didn't get the piece for my tripod, hence I'm doing it this way, which is a little bit difficult because my knee's actually holding the table. It's not because I've got one of these folding tables that sort of sit on the bed. And if I move my knee, there's a good chance it'll just flip over. So, I just want to run through the books. And one of the things I have whiteboards. This is a small one. This is like for my weekly tasks where it's work related, so I'm not going to show you what's on there, but it's just what I need to do. Like, and as for Monday, so 1, 2, 3, three of the jobs I'll finish on Monday. As soon as I finish them, I'll just scrub them off. Whole point is it's an easy way of keeping track of things, especially if you're really busy, because although I have a really good memory, one of the problems I have is, like, now I think we've got 260 projects running. And it's just knowing that's booked in, who's booked it in, when's it starting. Somebody hasn't come back with this, you have to go back, so just make a note. Phone Monday, email Monday, chase Monday, starts on Tuesday, all that sort of stuff. But whiteboards are extremely good. There's another one over there, and there's another one above me. One above me is more around goals, in the sense of, like, for the mortgage, the reduction, where it was and where we are now and where I want it to get to, things like that. The one in front is simple things like read a book this week, and just some bits and pieces around personal development. But we'll get into some of these in a minute, because we'll go over the books, which sort of relate to the one in front anyway, because it's all tied together. Because one of the first things you probably noticed in the last video I was sort of bringing up, I do recognise I'm not perfect. That may shock you. I know where I have some strengths and weaknesses, and part of life is recognising your own weaknesses. Because instead of being directed at other people's strengths in a negative way, it's recognizing it's often those strengths that may be your own weaknesses. Don't get me wrong, I know there's some right people out there, but at the same time, you're probably conflicting with some people because you have different traits, different personalities, and you probably bounce because you have the opposite of each other. And that can sometimes be where the frustration comes from, etc. So some of it is just recognizing that although you may be annoyed with somebody, their mind often works in a different way. They've got different traits, different personalities, different things. So this all gets back to the spilt bean scenario, where they're doing the best they can. They're not great, but do you know what? It's not the end of the world. I know you shouldn't really be doing that in... Some people are probably going to give me some stick, because obviously it's a front of house service, in the sense of it's a restaurant, but yeah, I've had far worse things out there. So the first book is Lucy Griffiths, which is Make Money While You Sleep. Now, I've covered this before, and I've worked successfully before with making money online. Money wise, I was making maybe up to £1,500 a month before, purely online, purely automatic. I get these YouTube videos, all these YouTube videos. I don't take any of the money for this. This actually pays some of the bills in the Philippines. It pays for like having a assistant for my mother-in-law, who's was 70, is she 70 or 71? But a lot of that is, I've realised, because I get so busy with work, I haven't been doing what I should be doing, which is generating other cash. So this is sort of taking me back full circle to some of the stuff I was doing before, but also it's a bit like I was explaining on the last video about the lack of knowledge and experience and stuff in the PFI industry. Um, Writing an online course around it could be a nice little money spinner. Um, Next one is Simon Sinek, which is Leaders Eat Last. I like him. I'll give two things. I find this stuff very relatable, but there's two key things that from his YouTube videos that I picked up on. The first one was around, he was talking about how, I think it was with the Navy SEALs, how they choose people. And it's got this graph that's sort of around capabilities and trust. So they much rather have somebody who is less capable and more trustworthy, because the point is everyone's relying on each other. Now, for me, that's in business. That's a key. If you haven't got trust in your business, it's a major problem. I'm seeing so many companies fail out there because they've lost it, and it needs to be, you need to understand there is a problem. If you don't, and many companies refuse to accept it, it's this mentality of I say so it must, rather than actually understanding what is actually wrong with the business. Because what you then have is an exodus of the smart people, because you haven't got trust, you haven't got loyalty. The other thing on Simon Sinek was, I'm sure he was talking about people with some of the biggest companies out there, and he's talking about leadership, and they believe in the product. Why is Apple better than many other products out there? It's because they believe it's better. It may not actually be better, but they drive it. The leadership is, this is what it is. This is why people go, if you're a big PC person, you'll be going head to head with an Apple person. They'll support and go, I love Apple because it's the best of this, best of that. I mean, for me, why would I buy Apple? Firstly, I know what I'm getting. Secondly, their customer service is amazing. But that's, just those two alone is why I don't mind paying above market level, because I know what I'm getting. It's constant. But it started with people believing in their own product. So that's those two. This one is a little bit different. This is skin in the game. Now, there's a big problem in a lot of industries out there, and I've only read the back of this, but this is a little bit off the back. Why should we never listen to people who explain rather than do? Why do companies go bust? Why do Christianity insist on Christ suffering? Should you pick a surgeon who does not look like a surgeon? For me, there's a big problem with a lot of people out there that are spinning. It's a bit like if you go through LinkedIn, you'll see all this self-loathing, regenerated, celebrating, and it's false celebration. For example, you get a company go, HR director going, hiring another 100 engineers, as if it's a celebration. They lost the other 100. This wasn't new. The fact is, they're going through a churn. They keep losing them and keep losing them. But instead of doing that, let's put a positive spin on it. What they should actually do is look at the problems in the business and fix it. And this is where I'm interested to see how this actually pans out. But that fits in with a lot of the bit where it's going, why should we never listen to people who explain rather than do? Because the point being, often they lack the experience, the knowledge, or the full understanding. It's because, I've been to university, I got this, blah, blah, blah. Which gets back to Vietnam and how officers ended up getting killed by their own men as soon as they went out into the jungle. Because knowledge and experience wins. If you haven't got those, then you've got a liability. And at the roots level, they recognised it. This one is around strategies, business strategies. Now, one of the big problems I find in a lot of companies I work with is they don't have a strategy, and they don't know how to implement it, and they don't know how to push a strategy to all tiers of a business. You see, I'm going very corporate lately. The whole point is, a lot of the problems I see out there are around the fact that a lot of companies don't know how to get from B to A, because at the end of the day, they know they've got problems. They know they've got um, got to go through multiple, because these are big companies, multiple things have changed. But without the strategy, you can't sell it. Gets back to the other one where you've got to believe in your product. You've got to believe in what you're doing. You've got to believe in what you're selling. You've got to get others to follow that path. Part of that is having a strategy behind it. You can see a massive pattern here, can't you? The next one is effective business networking. Networking is massive in my industry. The relationships between people, because I used to work for a big company called Carillion, and a lot of those networks are alive and well, in the sense of it's so tight knit that you will come across people over and over again that over 20, 30 years, or they know you through somebody else, etc., etc. Is it nepotism, or I would say if you're hiring around your own little bubble, which I've experienced before, where you had 5 people, they're all transferred from the same contract. When I say transferred, it's not like they were transferred across, which is normally like a 2p. You can look it up, not like a wig. But the point being is somebody coming as a director, then they basically filtered out the people that were already there and brought in 5 people from the other company, not directly related to the new company. So it's not like you move from one contract to another, which can occur as well. These are actually people that have come in at a different level, give themselves pay rises, all sorts of stuff going on in the background. So I'm looking at networking stuff. I do a lot of networking, but at the same time, I'm still not. I don't believe I maximised it. That's one of the things, like I says, is I recognise I need to develop, and part of life is recognising you can always do more, do it better, do it differently, and even other people doing it a different way may not be better than yours, but even you come out the other side understanding how some other people work and think. So it's always worth investing the time. Now this one is by James Clear, which is Atomic Habits. Now this one is based on small changes, like micro changes, like it doesn't matter what you're trying to do. It's basically to daily improvements in your life, and and basically getting to the making those changes. Like comes January, everyone's made that New Year's resolution to go to the gym, then they do it for a month, then they start feeling hungry for that kebab on a Friday or whatever, and then within 3 months they've quit the gym and gone back to their old habits. So the point is, I'm reading this one to see if there's another way of thinking in there, in doing a smaller scale. Now don't get me wrong, I know my problem with fitness is work habit, because like going to London last week, I weighed in yesterday, I put 4 kilos on. By Tuesday I lost that 4 kilos again, and that is down to work habits, which are very hard to break because of the amount of administration I do. Doesn't mean I'm giving up, doesn't mean I'm not going to do anything about it. It's just recognizing I know that's where the key problem is. So it's finding maybe some micro solutions around getting around that. So that's my book list, and part of my tasks on my board is to read 1 book a week, going forward. And the other side of this, if you're trying to do this yourself, is my son is starting to follow some of my patterns. It's bizarre. It's like he goes to school with a long coat, shirt and tie, very smartly dressed. And it's like, okay, that was me when I was younger. I always went, the patterns are still there. He does karate twice a week. He was doing um, martial arts in the park on the weekends before, pretty much. I think probably about 4 or 5 hours on a Saturday and a Sunday, where he's doing full contact sparring. And a lot of that was to build up his confidence. And now he seems to have got the confidence there. He's standing a lot stronger. His personality's changed. I mean, a couple of weeks back, he had this massive bruise here. And he's more proud of the fact, yeah, he took a knock. Where before it's like, oh, it's a big drama. He fell over or something. Now it's like, yeah, whatever. He's got a stronger stance. He's got a stronger personality. He's coming forward. At the same time, he's also got his whiteboard. And before I left Spain, I wrote a load of things on there. Some of them are like do 30 minutes exercise a day, read a book once a week, and then some of it's like notes sort of things. Is like, remember you've got the support of your family. Remember you've got a good life. You've got a nice home. You got this. So when you have those down days, that's what that's there for. Just to reinforce that your life's not that hard. And there's always tomorrow. That was another one. Whatever happens today is gone. So the point being is, even for yourself, may be worth just doing that if you want that support. Write a whiteboard out with things that you find important. I mean, one of the ones for me is Carpe Diem, which seize the day, in Latin, which is basically always try and get the most out today. And that's an important one. It's like this morning, I was thinking, what am I going to do today? And then it's like, oh, I'll do a video. Oh, I haven't got the bracket for the top of the camera because I took the other one to Spain. I could have said, I'll cancel it. Instead, no. I went out, did a video en route, then ended up shopping for about 2 hours, come back, finish the video off as I started with, and now starting to look at which book I'm going to start reading. But like I said, seize the day, do something about it. Think about it, make the changes, push forward. Don't just sit on the fence. You'll sit there, you can blame everybody else, everything else is someone else's problem, but you know what? Nobody cares. Nobody cares. They may go, oh, I feel sorry for whatever, but you know what? It's not going to get you out that rut. You've got to get yourself out that rut. So, yeah, that's an important one. Oh, and I got these for my son. Yeah, he likes the funny enough, he's like a duplicate of myself. So, he likes the Commando comics, which every time I'm in W.H. Smith's, I end up buying whatever's available. So that's pretty cool. I didn't realise there's issue numbers on these, so I'll actually be able to find which ones I'm missing. 3, 4, 3, 3. See, look, there's me sorting them into order, OCD or what. But anyway, I'll leave this video as is, but I'll be going through these books. I think I'm going to read the Leaders Eat Last book by Simon Sinek first, because to be fair, I think he's more, the way he thinks is very similar to me, so I think that's what the appeal is. And I do recommend look at the different things on YouTube as well, because there's a lot of little videos out there that are parts of speeches where people have extracted little bits of jewels of knowledge. I was watching one this morning from Jordan Peters around intelligence and autism. It was the best explanation I've seen around autism. Alright, I'll put this on the tail end before I shut off. Because when people say, "Oh, they're autistic," that's where a lot of people just finish off. They go, "Oh, they've got autism." It's when they start to understand that it's to do with how things are made. Um, let's interpretation. Okay, here we go. So you go, okay, hamburger, right? So what do you think of a hamburger? Bun, cheese, but yeah, sorry, bun and cheese, burger patty, cheese, a burger. You know, bun. That's a burger, right? But for people with autism, it's a burger pate, maybe, or maybe not. Depends on your interpretation. It may be the vision you have. It may be in a cellophane box. It may be in a cardboard box. It may be, um, it may be with lettuce, tomato, and whatever. The point is, this is the complexity of it. Is we can interpret that as one word and think, do you want to go for a burger? And think, okay, we'll go and get a, you know, and we're not even talking about whether it's got tomato or that. We're literally just going, yeah, it's going to be in a bun. It's going to have stuff in it, but we'll decide what it is later. But for people with autism, that's sort of mind blowing because what do you mean? You know, it's it's breaking it all down to understand what that is. And if you look for the video, it's useful. I do recommend it because for me, I've got a daughter with autism, but it it makes it more relatable, and I think that's the important bit, is because a lot of it's just, oh, somebody's got this, oh, somebody's got that. It's like, what does it actually mean? But like when you go like that, oh, it's like that, and you go, right. So if I'm talking to some, I mean, the burger is just something, but maybe it is a good example or bad example. I don't know because I need to speak to somebody that it is it relates to, that actually says, well, that's just nonsense. I know what a burger is, but the point is, it may be a case of you need to explain what a burger is, and you go, if it's got this on its own, or got this and this, it's still a burger, and this is still a burger, and this is still a burger, which, like I said, can get confusing. Um, but at the same time, you can actually say, this is what I call a burger. Um, do you want to have one of these? Do you want to have one of that? You know, it's. I was only watching it today. That's why it's sort of related to today. But just watching these little snippets, you get little bits of knowledge that may come from a different angle, different perspective, something you didn't know before, and you get a little bit of value out of it. But anyway, that's enough for today. I'm gonna chill out for this afternoon and do some reading. Thanks for watching.